One of the selling points for airlines to buy the new 737 MAX was that pilots qualified on earlier models wouldn't have to learn much more to become type rated for the new MAX version. The Seattle area is an important part of the Federal Aviation Administration helping to certify new planes. But in a letter to the White House dated Monday, the Office of the Special Counsel appeared to back up allegations that unqualified aviation safety inspectors may have helped review and certify the Boeing 737 MAX. Citing the two 737 MAX crashes in Indonesia and Ethiopia, Special Counsel Henry Kerner says, quote, 737 MAX FSB, meaning Flight Standardization Board, was apparently staffed by underqualified safety inspectors. But the FAA is also firing back with the opposite, saying in a statement it stands behind previous congressional testimony involving the qualification issue, saying, quote, all of the aviation safety inspectors who participated in the evaluation of the Boeing 737 MAX were fully qualified for those activities.
I will fly the MAX.
Steve Dixon is the FAA's new administrator, who was in Seattle last week flying the 737 MAX engineering simulator, and this week in Montreal meeting with world regulators about getting the MAX back in the air. This interview with NBC's Tom Costello earlier last week.
It's actually not unusual for validation to occur between authorities. We do it with other products that are produced in other jurisdictions around the world, and I would expect for them to take their own independent look at it.
Now, Dixon is taking over the reins at the FAA after much of the wrangling you heard about involving these inspectors had already happened. His remarks released from the FAA from yesterday saying that the process and the regulations used in certification are not static and that the agency welcomes reviews of the MAX and the FAA's certification process.
Glenn, there's been talk that the FAA may go it alone in recertifying the MAX. Is it likely that other nations will join the U.S.?
It is looking now more likely. I mean, when you look at some of the reporting that's been going on over several weeks it was looking like they may not. We heard statements from the head of basically the FAA for the European Union that was saying we're really going to have to do all of this over on our own, is what it came off as sounding like. Things seem to be more unified now, but we're not really seeing much coming out of this Montreal summit yet.
Okay. Glenn, thank you.
Thank you.